Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ihsan Hines from MBKCares. Thank you for your time and your attention. Welcome to another episode of MBKCares Wellness Wednesday. As many of you have been following along, we've been doing different panel discussions with different components of mental health. Today, we're going to be talking about art therapy, and we're going to be joined in that discussion by Rachel Kline and also by Joy Ike. We may have some special guests joining in a little bit later as well. I appreciate your time and your patience. Without further ado, Joy, could you please tell us who you are, where you're from, and what your creative art form is?
Hey, excited to be here with you. And the reason I'm looking over in the corner is I'm trying to post this feed on my Facebook page. But yeah, my name is Joy Ike, and I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I live in Philadelphia for going on 5.5 years now. And I'm a singer-songwriter and a piano player. And my music, I often describe it as a cross between pop, soul, and folk. And I would compare it most to artists like Laura Mbula, Fiona Apple, Nina Simone, Regina Spektor. It's definitely got a strong pop foundation, but it's also got a strong folk and soul foundation as well.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm going to ask you some questions about that, and if you're free to do it or feel comfortable, I want you to sing something for us.
Okay. I'll get my ukulele.
Okay, I'll get my guitar. I'll be your background player. And next up, we're going to have Rachel Kline. Rachel, could you tell us where you're from and about your singing, songwriting as well?
Yeah, of course. My name is Rachel Kline. I am from Palmyra/Hershey, very close to each other, Pennsylvania. Now I live in Philly. I am a singer-songwriter as well. I'm in a band called the Philadelphia Funk Authority. We are a very funky dance party band. We do a lot of private parties and weddings. I'm also an artist. I'm a painter, so I create large-scale acrylic paintings, and I paint on the back of jean jackets.
Yeah, I would like to see some of that. Are those jean jackets for sale, or is that just something you wear for your own wardrobe?
Both. I think I wear them more than I sell them, just because I have a problem. I can't give them away, But no, I definitely do sell them.
Yeah, I think I have an idea for that. I think that we could have like an auction. I know some of the organizations I'm a part of or affiliated with, they do things where they have giveaways, and even when we do our giveaways or our events, we have giveaways and raffles. I would like to purchase one of your jackets as a giveaway to somebody at one of my events in the future.
I love that. That's a great idea. I would love to make a jacket for you.
We get you $1 million for a jacket. We're going.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah. So, ladies, I definitely wanted to inquire. So, MBKCares, in case you're not fully aware, it's a nonprofit organization that was started in memory of my younger brother. His name was Ihsan Hines, and he took his life from, I guess, from depression. Not really sure why, but he took his life on August 31st, 2007. And in his memory, I started going around doing concerts, and those became opportunities to be a public speaker on behalf of suicide awareness and prevention. And now we find ourselves in 2020, a fully recognized 501c3 organization. And for those who this is new news, we just got the letters a week ago to have our nonprofit status. And behind me is the likeness of my brother. That's a painting that someone actually created in his likeness at one of our events. So with the focus being on mental health for our organization and nonprofit for suicide awareness and prevention, I want to make sure that each conversation we have encourages people to practice self-care and be aware of some of the pitfalls that can exist in their lives, but just offering hope and not just statistics. So you're here tonight because I believe the art you create is a window to the world, but it also is a tool that helps you with your own mental health. So I have some questions I want to ask you about that, if you're comfortable with that. And Joy, I was actually watching a video of yours this morning, and it seemed like you captured the essence of what everybody's experiencing right now with this quarantine. Can you tell us about that song and what you were trying to do when you created it?
I think you're probably talking about All the Time in the World.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that song is about 4 weeks old now, and or it's been out in the world for about 4 weeks. And I wrote that in the first week of quarantine here in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
I realized in that first week that I had reconnected with friends and even family members that I hadn't talked to in so long. And when I sat down at my piano, the song came almost instantly. But over the course of the time, like from when the song first came to when I finally put it out and was filming this music video in my apartment. There were all the highs and all the lows. The days where I was like, oh, I can do it, I can get through this, and other days I was like, somebody help me, somebody get me out of here. So when I was, the song itself was one thing, but then I was like, how am I gonna translate this to what's the visual for this song? And the visual was less about reconnecting to people, but more about the angst, the anxiety, the fear, the restlessness, and also the joy of connecting with a friend and just laughing. So there are just shots of all of that. So, and I think that's just kind of what everyone's going through. You grab a book and the book's boring, you toss it, you turn the TV on, there's nothing good on Netflix, you can't figure out what you want to watch, and so then you go to your kitchen and get something to eat, and it's literally repeat, rinse over and over again. And every day you wake up and you're just like, okay, how am I going to make the best of being inside this box today?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think you did a good job of doing the best in that box, which was creating. And I really admire how it was small details I noticed in there. Like you were brushing teeth, you were stretching. It looked like you were trying to do everything. Like everybody's house has become a gym, and everybody's room has become a studio. And it is what it is at this point. But in some ways, it feels like it's actually a better connection with who we should be, taking some time to enjoy our homes. On a previous episode, I mentioned how a lot of our families are paying mortgages and rents for properties that we don't actually get to spend time in. And
Mm.
at this time, we're actually able to appreciate where we're at. And Rachel, I've seen you've been doing some incredible things with your time. I've been a fan of your music and also your paintings. Has this time of quarantine been a time for you to nurture and enhance your skills, for you to work on creating more songs?
Yeah, definitely. I feel that in isolation, I'm sort of like experiencing emotions. I want to say like more often than I did, when I was going out and doing things, just being pent up in the house. So it's a really good way for me to be able to express that and get those emotions out onto a canvas or onto a track or something. So yeah, definitely. I'm finding myself creating a lot more in quarantine.
Yeah, I think that's dope because when you're doing it now, I guess you can still find out who's liking it or viewing it and stuff, but you don't have the crowd reaction the same way. You can't hear the noise or you
Hmm.
can't interact with people. But now, well, you can interact, I guess, through typing or whatever, but you can't hear the applause. You can't tell, am I killing it? Am I not killing it? Whatever, or just get more energy. But I admire how your energy is ridiculous. Like you're like running in place in front of the microphone and like that's really decent. So for you, is that a form of like therapy? I don't know if you intend to be therapeutic with it, but does it make you feel better when you're creating?
Absolutely. I don't think I go out of my way to I don't tell myself that it's therapy, but inherently I know that it is because
Yeah.
I'm able to just first of all distract myself from everything that's going on in the world,
Hmm.
and second of all is just create and get all of those emotions out and sort of feel rejuvenated afterwards. So yeah, it's definitely a form of therapy. Both art forms for me.
Yeah, I'm a poet and a songwriter as well. Not a singer. I wish I could sing. And happy birthday to Stevie Wonder today too. Speaking of singers, he turned 70 today.
Wow.
Um, but I'm a creator as well, and a lot of the songs that I've written and poems that I've written, I didn't necessarily write them with an intention to make myself feel better, but I know now when I listen to them, they serve as like a journal of experiences for me, so I'm able to remember how I felt. If I feel sad and I hear a song that I wrote about how I overcame or how I had hope in that moment, it actually encourages me, even though the experience that I might have written it for has nothing to do with the current circumstance. it's relevant in that way. So I appreciate that, and I hope your music does the same for you and for your listeners.
Mhm.
Joy, for the environment right now, your song that you posted a video of, it was called, what is it again? Is it Every Day's Today?
All the time in the world.
All the time in the world. I didn't have one
Close.
word right.
So close.
All right. So all the time in the world, like I know right now the creative space or the energy was caused from being home. Have you had the same inspiration to create when you traveled the world? Have you found that your creative juice flowing even more when you're different locations, whether it's domestic or foreign?
Hmm. Well, I probably get out of the country maybe once a year. And so I'm not like, I wish I could do that more. But for me, because I'm on the road a lot, and not as much as I used to be, but because when I travel domestically, it's for music. I usually take those opportunities when I'm traveling outside of the country as a break,
Okay.
because I kind of have this whenever I think about traveling, it's always to play and perform. So it's always that process of load in, play the show, load out, drive to the next city, do the same thing over and over again. So traveling for me is a break from that, and it's just an opportunity to explore new places, and see new things. But when I go to different countries, that's the first thing on my list. Like I want to go and see art, and it doesn't need to be a museum. Usually I want to see performances. My favorite thing is to see artists, musicians, and visual artists creating in their own space, and see how the culture around them influences what they do.
Yeah, that's beautiful. What are some of the places that you've been, if you don't mind me asking?
I've been to Ecuador, been to Greece, been to Nigeria a few times. That's where my family's from.
Okay.
Been to the Dominican Republic, Haiti, probably one or two other spots, UK. Yeah, so. Mhm.
That's beautiful. I've never been out of the country, so I see things and hear stories from other people and see the windows of the world through them. That was beautiful. And when you come from those places, and this question is also for you, Rachel, when you travel, even if you're not creating while you're there, if you're there to enjoy, do you find your creative energy when you come back to be recharged in a type of way, in a certain way?
Yeah, most definitely. I feel I feel like when I come back from something or someplace and it's been a while, that's kind of like a reset for me.
Right.
Which is funny because I also think about quarantine like that. Like I feel like I've gone somewhere even though I'm gone nowhere.
Yeah.
Like I'm like kind of in hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what is it gonna look like to re-emerge and resurface?
Mm-hmm.
Can you relate to some of those same experiences, Rachel?
Absolutely, especially the quarantine aspect. It's such a weird, I mean, it's just we don't know how long we have to do this. So it's like, what are we going to be like when we're allowed to go back outside? What skills have we acquired, or what have we taught ourselves? You give a great example. You're learning how to play the guitar, and when you come out of quarantine, maybe you'll be like on a stage somewhere rocking the guitar. Who knows? So it's very, very weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it is time. I remember hearing friend of mine, I think actually recently, maybe it was yesterday, he was talking about how this period of time represents sort of like a cocoon as well. And that pace for some of us may be slow or fast. Some of us may have been not lazy, but I guess just not doing some things that they know they could have been doing, procrastinating in some ways. And now it's time to actually get those things done. And some of us have been busy, and now it's time to actually get some rest. For me, I found it to be both. I think I was too busy doing some things, and I was procrastinating with other things. And the things I was procrastinating with were connected to my purpose, and the things I was busy with had to do with other people's purposes and the society around us that I don't necessarily want to serve, honestly. But I just really appreciate what y'all have said about your experiences with the traveling and the creativity. I want to ask you, Joy, when you when you said you were reading and stuff right now, for your self-care, does it just involve art, or do you do the things that were in your video? Or is that something you find yourself doing on a regular? Are you able to get out and go for some walks?
Gosh, what was I doing in that video? Brushing my teeth. Yes, I do that. No, actually, nature is, oh man, I love my walks. I love them. I love them before quarantine. I love them so much more now. There's a trail near my house. It's called the Wissahickon Trail.
Yeah.
And it's just full of beautiful gems. It's just like a hidden gem. It's like every time I walk on it, it looks different. I'm just like, that path wasn't there last week, and it was, but I didn't see it. So yeah, I'm always posting photos on my Instagram from the trail and stuff like that. Yeah.
Walk my dog out when I lived in Mannion.
So are there areas like that out there in your area now where you're in Hershey? Are you able to still
There's
get out and
so
about?
many trails. Yeah, I was actually just talking to my mom about going to a trail tomorrow. My brother told me it was going to be in the 80s, and I'm like, we need to go do something. And he's like, oh yeah, it's going to thunderstorm all day. It's going to be in the 80s, but it's going to thunderstorm. Like, dang it.
I didn't know that part. I didn't know it was going to rain. I was looking forward to going out for a walk tomorrow.
It could just be here. It might not be in Philly. It could just be here that it's going to thunderstorm. So, just my luck. I'm like, yeah, 85.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody out there who's watching this, there are still rules or there's things that are recommended that we should be doing with social distancing and quarantine. But going out for some air in an area where you're safe and you're not putting yourself in harm's way or perhaps putting others in harm's way is perfectly fine. And even some of the guidelines that are promoted encourage exercise and going for walks. And the sunlight, it means something. There's vitamin D. There's just something about light therapy that enhances our mood. So I encourage everyone out there, get out and get some sunlight, but please be responsible with how much sunlight you're getting. You don't have to have sunlight hugging everybody and shaking every hand on the block. And yes, just be responsible. Rachel, I wanted to ask you a question about a song. Actually, it was a song that I heard from you that's not released yet, but I found it to be very powerful. Your lyrics from it. What's the song called that you actually shared? Was it Face?
Shapes.
Shapes. It was a wonderful song. Can you tell us about that song? And maybe later, could you share the song as well?
Sure. So the song, I wrote it about just being kind of objectified all the time. Just, as a woman, this is something that we have to deal with a lot. And sometimes it's very disheartening. I love to play video games. It's like one of my favorite things in the world. And if people ask me, something about myself, I'll say that as an interesting fact, and people are like, really? Like, you do that? And it's like, yeah, I'm a human that enjoys things that other humans enjoy, so it was a little bit frustrating that it's like things that I enjoy that seem like boyish or not for somebody like me is like what defines me,
Right.
just looking at me, you assume that I wouldn't do something like that. What do you think that I would do? So the song, I just wrote it, don't judge me by my shapes. You only can see this outside facade that at the end of the day, none of us asked to look the way that we look. We were just born this way. So that is kind of just the meaning behind the song, is like, I am so much more than this. Inside here, there is so much more to me than what you can see on the outside. So that was just kind of like the general message of that song.
That's really powerful. And as a father of a little girl, I appreciate the song. And I remember when I heard it, it made me think of my favorite artist is Tori Kelly. And people give me a lot of flack for that because I'm like a huge Tori Kelly advocate. And it's not just on, like, she is beautiful, but it's not her outer that I'm drawn to. It's the spirit that she puts out there. And it's something that I don't mind my daughter listening to. It's not objectifying a woman. And she's talking about things like faith, about being married, which I think is a decent thing, talking about being committed and in a relationship, doing the work of humanity. So I really love that you're putting out something that could benefit, first of all, it can define you and make sure people know, measure me by this standard, but also you're speaking for so many other people who are able to hear it and you're giving a voice to their experience. So that's decent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Joy, do you recognize some of the same truths that she just said in your experience and encounter with different
Some of
men?
the same.
The same things that she just talked about as far as like being objectified and seen as someone who's not capable of being just an object?
I mean, I have this reoccurring experience where I'll go into a venue and the sound man will talk to me as if I don't know what I need in the mix. As if I don't know what I need to hear in order to give the best show possible.
Mm-hmm.
It happens over and over again, and especially with my sister, who's a drummer. You know, we travel and play together. And so they're just like, oh, she's a female drummer. and then she plays and they're like, oh, she's a female drummer. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, they make assumptions all the time, and it's like you definitely get really good at building a thick skin and making sure that you don't let those things phase you. But it can be insulting. It can be really insulting. And it feels belittling, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah. But the flip side of that, from doing shows, what does the energy feel like with the crowd connecting with your experience or the songs that you might be saying? Do you get to feel that energy or hear testimonies from different people coming up to you?
Oh, I miss that.
I know, right? I just want to like hug someone again. Like,
I know.
you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen when everybody kind of comes out of their shells. But yeah, I really miss that. I really miss people coming up after shows, talking, giving hugs, sharing about what a song means to them. But it's one reason why, you know, when I first started doing the live streams, I was not comfortable. I did not enjoy it, and because it's hard to play in a room when no one's there except you. But it's just awkward. But I've really come to value the streams now because it's a way for me to hear from people and connect with people.
Yeah.
You know, through the comments, and you know, comments is kind of all you can do right now. But I love that there are people tuning in who are in cities or even countries that, you know, I may never have gotten to.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, there's so many more people who are able to connect with my music in a different way, but connect because now we're all pushed to stream.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel, has that been something you can also relate to, like the change from the energy you feel from a crowd, or are you finding it easy to still get something out of it?
I haven't done any live streams yet. I'm very intimidated by it. This is my first one that I'm doing. It really is. It's so intimidating, you know, just kind of like staring at this little green light, and it's like, now what? You know, I'm like, what if I get caught on something I want to say, or what if I mess up really bad? So that's where I'm at now. I'm preparing myself for it. I think I need to like write up a set and have things to say, and have kind of just general responses if people ask me questions. So I'm gearing myself up to do it, but I am not at that level yet. It is a terrifying feat.
I mean, it's scary. Yeah, I hear you totally.
Well, y'all are killing it, and I think, I'm not sure if this is an idea that you will take into consideration, but perhaps live stream with someone else and y'all can kind of maybe not perform together, but have somebody almost like hosting your performances to ease some of that, because right now y'all are killing it. You're totally comfortable.
Yeah, and you know, those have actually been the most enjoyable ones. There was one person who had me on one of their it was like a StreamYard one where you could do split screens, since Facebook won't let you. And then another person had me on their Instagram. So, you know, Instagram split screens at top and bottom. So those have been more enjoyable because at least you have that feedback, sort of like this interview.
Yeah.
Or this discussion.
Y'all are doing incredible right now, just sharing some insight. And I think that you're speaking to the experience. There's a lot of young people who I meet who struggle with identity, and for suicide awareness, one of the things that we're trying to always encourage people is to know who you are so that you can feel some self-worth to the point where you're not feeling like I don't belong here. And as someone who struggled with suicidal thoughts myself, it took someone reminding me of my strengths when my weaknesses were in the forefront. For your experiences when you're creating material, do you write best, or do you write from both of these places? Actually, do you write from your low experiences as well as your high experiences, or you only find it easy to write while everything is going well? And I'll start with Rachel with that.
I actually find myself itching to write if I'm in a low place. I think, as we said earlier, it really is a form of therapy, even though inherently, you know, I'm not like putting myself through therapy. I'm just doing it to get my mind off of everything that's going on. I find that some of the best outcomes of music and paintings are because I was in a distressed state, and then it's something that I can look back on later in life and know exactly how I was feeling in this moment that I wrote this sentence, or even this specific word. You know, what made me think of this word that became a hook, or a big part of it, or the title even of a song. So I find myself creating better if I'm distressed. I mean, I definitely create you know, in a happy place. But yeah, I think difficult times make for really great artwork.
Absolutely. You have any thoughts
Yeah,
about the same thing, Joy?
I totally agree. Yeah, I'm the same. I feel like I use songwriting as a way to work through whatever I'm going through. It's like if I'm not working on a song, I'm journaling. So there's always a writing process happening. And, you know, in the best case scenario, it finds itself in a song eventually. But yeah, I think there's something about getting out your feelings in art, you know, and the end product. And in more cases than not, at least in my experience, it doesn't always end up being a hopeful song, or it doesn't always end up being a happy song, I should say, but it always ends up being a hopeful song, in the sense that there's always that light at the end of the tunnel. There's always that silver lining. I was talking with someone the other day about this, about how it's like I have a hard time leaving a song in that place, you know, in that place of struggle, because, you know, if we stay in that place, it's like right now, you know, if we write from a place of, you know, wrestling with what's going to happen next in our world, it's okay. But if we stay there, then it's like we have no hope, and there's always hope, you know. And so ultimately the song might start here, but it ends there, you know, or it ends with some kind
I
of
love that.
window out.
I think that's a good point you make. I was listening to I don't even know the name of the group. We have a mutual friend, Lori. She played some music for me from this guy who had a series of songs that didn't leave you at a hopeful point, but as you progress through the project, it got you there. So each song itself, you had to listen to the whole album in order to go from a place of despair to a place of solution by the time you got to the end. But I did think it was
Wow.
creative. Lauryn Hill did something similar to that. Her Miseducation album, it's a journey. I still think that
Yeah.
I think that is probably, it's kind of hard to really compare, but if it's that top album ever, it's up there.
Yeah. I
Like,
wholeheartedly agree.
yeah.
I used to want to be the next Lauryn Hill, but then I couldn't play the guitar, so I threw that aspiration out the window.
There you go.
That's why I landed on the ukulele, because I was like, 6 strings is just too much.
Yeah. I'm still learning too. So I think you said a very good point about the hope part, because when you make a song and you leave yourself thinking about the solution, like you can't keep replaying the same funeral. I have songs that for a while I rehearsed them, and I realized that the more I did those songs over and over again, I didn't actually escape those feelings. So then I started playing some of my own music, or listening to some of my own music that was actually about overcoming, because it's just like the news. If you watch the news all day during this pandemic, you could wind up in fear. But if you change what you're consuming, you could actually wind up escaping. Because a lot of, you ever heard prison stories where they're like, you can escape these walls, they can trap your body, they can't trap your mind. Well, it's the same kind of thing that most of us are experiencing now, and we cannot allow our minds to be trapped. And your art forms are ways to do it. And it's a beautiful thing when you can create art. You actually brought me outside of my room today through your song that was actually recorded inside of your room. That's incredible. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah. One of my favorite artists, he's a painter, and he says creating is a prophetic act. because it takes something that does not exist and brings it like out of non-existence into being. And creating and creativity and art is how we pull through something like a quarantine that feels so hopeless.
Yeah.
We have to make that decision to get up every day and to create, whether that's a song or a visual piece or just the act of doing, like getting out of your bed and doing something. Like it's like a forward moving decision that you make, that you're not going to stay put and stay, your emotions aren't going to stay suppressed. Whatever that stay is for you, the stay in at home order, it doesn't mean we have to stay at, stay stuck, right? Yeah.
Rachel, have you been painting? She was talking about painting as well. Have you been painting during this quarantine time?
Yeah, I've been painting a lot. It's harder to find inspiration for painting, I think, because I'm not visually seeing things. I think that's the difference between my art mediums, is that the songwriting is like a lot of emotion is poured into it. And I don't want to say that I don't pour emotions into my paintings, but because it's more of a visual aspect, it'll be, I'm at the store, I'm out somewhere, I'm driving, and I'll see something that sparks an inspiration, and I'll be like, that's what I want to paint. And I'll go and I'll make a weird version of that. Whatever comes out of my brain just kind of like throws up onto the canvas. And that's the art for me. So it's harder for me to find inspiration when I am in that stuck place for visual art, but I think it's kind of sparking a different creative side in me that helps with the songwriting. So yeah, I have been painting a lot, but not as much as I usually do. So
do you paint for yourself, or are your paintings available for purchase?
I just paint for myself. The only thing I sell is the jean jackets. And those are usually commissioned. So people will, send me pictures of people or just like ideas and ask me to recreate that. So I paint for myself, the large scale ones. I would love to sell them one day, but I think I need to have more of them. Right now, I think I have like 7 or 8 big ones. So one day I want to have just like 1 million of them and then eventually sell them, So right now it's just for me.
7 might be enough. I mean, I would like you to make more, but some people only have a few paintings and they're masterpieces, and they're known
You're right.
historically for them. I'm going to use your services to actually create something for some of our events, but also I want to get a painting done, maybe in the likeness of one of my family members or something. You're able to paint something like detail, like a person like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I want to do something like that with you. And also, I know some of our supporters and our sponsors are watching this. We were working on some things that were going to take place this year. This past March, actually, we were going to do an event at Temple University, and that fell through due to the pandemic. Actually happened in the same exact week as our event. But we are going to get on campuses. I'm hoping we can get on campuses by spring of 2021. We have a reservation for September of this year to bring art therapy events together. So my goal with those is to have painters and poets on the same stage, singers, rappers, different forms or different mediums of art going on at the same time, while the painters are painting with the vibe and the ambiances in the room. And we found that to be a really dope spot to talk about mental health and all kinds of other social issues, and just bring people together with good energy. So I would love to have you involved with that. Those plans may probably not happen in September like we already have it booked for, but when we do have it, I would love to have you two involved with that, and I'll follow up with you all after this as well.
That sounds awesome.
It's going to be beautiful, and I know what y'all offer is going to be beautiful. Where can people find your music? Are you on YouTube, Joy? Are you on YouTube or any other medium?
Yeah, YouTube, Instagram, all of them, Twitter. I don't know how to use Twitter anymore, but I'm there. So Facebook. Yeah, if people want to find me, they can go to joyike.com, JOYIKE, and then it links out to all of my social media, but my favorite is Instagram.
Yeah. And what about you, Rachel?
My favorite is Instagram too. Instagram, Facebook. I do have a few songs on Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon Music. Eventually I want to put a lot of music on there, but you know, times are tough right now, so I'm just creating them all, I guess. Creating them right now.
What are the titles of your songs that are on Spotify right now? I heard
I
one,
have
but I can't remember the name.
I have one called Following, and I have one called The Haunting. That was the Halloween teaser song
Yeah.
that my brother and I made that fun video for.
Yeah. Anybody out there want to see something very entertaining, go find that. The Haunting video, she's in like makeup, all kinds of things out in the street. It's pretty scary, but it's also very
My brother
entertaining.
directed and filmed the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's dope. So I hope people out there can appreciate what these women have had to offer, the insight. These humans, I'm sorry for even just calling you women, these humans, these incredible people have had to share their experiences and some insight. Hopefully it was encouraging. I would like to give people a taste of your talent if you're okay with that. Would you like to share a whole song or a verse or riff? You want me to play some guitar? I'll do that behind you, or I'll do that far from you. What you want?
I got one sec. I gotta set this little thing up.
I gotta go. So I'll go do that real quick and I'll be right back.
Okay. I'll bring out the guitar for a second. I'm gonna play 2 notes.
Yeah, show me the notes you can play.
I'm joking. I really have like 1 note. A friend of mine taught me how to play 1.
Okay, there we go.
I don't want to kill this interview with my guitar playing. I do encourage anybody out there who's watching, if there's something that you have a desire to do, even if you don't feel talented to do it, just try it. You may enjoy it, and that's the important thing, that you find something that brings you joy.
All right, I think I'm all set up. I'm actually gonna sing a different song today that I've been working on. I really like it. I hope you like it too.
What's it called?
I don't even have a official title for it.
Okay.
I wrote it about kind of being in a bad place mentally with myself, and kind of just realizing that, you know, like, I want to say me, but it's really directed to anybody that listens to it. Like, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Okay. That you are the shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And don't downplay any of your talents and any of your ideas, because you are the shit. And if you own that and if you embrace it, then nobody can ever stop you. Nobody can ever pull you down.
Yeah.
So I'm calling it Better Than This, but I don't know yet.
So as of now, this is untitled. This is a world exclusive. You heard it first here on Wellness Wednesdays. New.
All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Back. Can you hear it? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh. Wake up in the morning, feel the sunlight on my skin. Now feeling like myself today, twist inside my head. Oh, notice something different about the way I view myself. Maybe it's the weather or the liquor on the shelf. Ooh-wee, who is she? Smile like danger, can't contain her. Ooh-wee, could it be that I love me? Yeah, it can't get much better than this. Yeah, can't get much better than this. Ooh, can't get much better than this. Ooh, can't get much better than this. Yeah, it can't get much better than this. Hey, yeah. Hour after hour, analyzing every micro imperfections. Now I don't see them at all. Ooh, I can hope that someday you will wake up this way too. Ooh, 'cause fuck a whole relationship if you can't love you. Ooh-wee. Who is she? Smile like danger, can't contain her. Ooh-wee, a masterpiece, prim and proper, moves like water. Ooh-wee, can it be that I love me? Yeah, it can't get much better than this. Yeah, can't get much better than this. Ooh, can't get much better than this. Ooh, can't get much better than this. Yeah, can't get much better than. Can't put a pin in it. Why I feel so different? Can't try to comprehend why I feel so good again. Can't try to run away from the way I see my face. It can't get much better than. Got all this confidence bumping around inside my head, but I will never think the same. 'Cause now I'm feeling my new ways, and it can't get much better than this.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. That was
Thank you.
so that
was yummy.
yeah, that was unreleased. Rachel Kline, you heard it here. It gets no better than this. Or the song is untitled at this time. Wow. Please copyright that, John. Y'all out there, we know who you are. I got eyes on you. Don't take any of these songs. Did you create that beat as well?
No, I didn't create the beat. I bought it.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That's what I'm learning to do in quarantine. I'm challenging myself to learn how to write and produce beats. So yeah, that one I bought. But after this, I'm definitely gonna try to be my own producer and my own voice, I guess.
Yeah, that's a beautiful song. So transitioning, I'm going to try to close out with some of. I want Joy to share. Joy, you have anything prepared for us as well?
Yeah, I got my ukulele.
Oh yeah.
It's a little bit easier to do this than my piano. It's a little more involved setting up over there. So because of that, I'm gonna play a cover.
Okay.
Just because this is a song that has I play this one a lot because it makes me happy, and I really don't really have any other covers, to be honest. But I kind of wish this man. I like your shirt. I kind of wish this person was around right now. I don't know. Certain voices I feel like could speak into this time in a way that nobody else can. So anyhow, I hope people will recognize it as soon as I start playing. 2, 3, 4. Well, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Well, it's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Well, I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Well, I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be? Would you be mine? Could you be? Would you be mine? could you be mine?
Wow. That was beautiful. I wish I could see right now in the Facebook feedback, because to hear you two say that you're not live streaming, the only thing that's on my mind listening to the last 10 minutes is why not? Like, for real, that was incredible. Two totally different vibes, relevant, powerful, beautiful, and true. That's what I find art to be. You were saying some things earlier in the interview about speaking from different places, whether it be highs or low. They're your truth. Whether they're high or low, they're your truth. And it's important to embrace it, your identity and your truth, because even like the Bible talks about the truth setting you free, looking in the mirror, even if it means, hey, I messed up today, just starting with I messed up can help you to fix some of the things so that tomorrow looks different, or so that the next hour looks different, so that you can go to somebody with an apology, or so you can forgive yourself, so you can just be more true. So it was beautiful hearing your creations. It's beautiful to hear you to talk about how you discovered parts of who you are. And I really am so grateful to have you two on here tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. We're going to wrap up. We do have a few more minutes. I'm sorry we weren't able to get into a bunch of questions, but I think things went the way that they were supposed to go, and it was beautiful. And I promise you will be hearing from me. I'm surviving this pandemic. Y'all gonna do that too, right? We coming out of this joint strong. Yeah. Me and my guitar, we gonna come out of this. I'm gonna have some notes for 2021. I'm gonna book y'all, and we're gonna do what we do. I hope that your creative juices flow even more. I hope that you're able to enjoy the spaces you're in. Everyone out there, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Wellness Wednesday. We'll be back next Wednesday, May the 20th, I believe. Yeah, May 20th, 6 p.m. Once again here on Facebook Live. You can follow MBK Cares at MBK Cares on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The website is mbkcares.com, mbkcares at Gmail as well. In the next 24 hours, we will be, I believe I'll be doing an interview tomorrow on Sherry Gregg's show. I don't have the details of where that will be, but Sherry Gregg is part of KYW and I believe the CW. I'll post the details on that on my live stream, on my Facebook page. But I appreciate everyone for participating, for your participation as panelists, and for the guests and people who are viewing tonight. Thank you all for your time, your prayers, your support. I hope that you're taking advantage of this Wellness Wednesday to do well. All right, Rachel, Joy, I appreciate you, and have a blessed night, everyone. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
All right. I stopped the live stream. That was wonderful.
This was fun.
It was fun. I was really scary, but that was really fun.
I know.
Y'all killed it. I think that I'm not trying to force you. You do what's worked for you, but if y'all are thinking about doing it, y'all are ready to do it.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking.
Joy.
I mean, I've been trying to do them like every once in a while, but it took me a while to like finally feel comfortable, and I would say I still don't, So
What if I live stream with you?
Yeah, I mean like an IG kind of thing.
Yeah, or even just like this platform where I'm asking you, I'm interviewing your song pretty much, talking about the creative process that went into the song. I'm willing to help in any way. Like that right there, it seemed like you were very comfortable in it, and the vibe of just not going from song to song, but having somebody to go back and forth with you might actually feel a little bit more freeing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm cool with that. I have a few coming up. I have about 3 coming up, but I would love to do another one. Maybe like stagger it between the other ones.
Yeah. I'm a spoken word artist. I should have did a poem tonight, but I could see a way to collaborate with you all like tremendously. Like I'm not gonna say I'm a beast, but I think I'm pretty talented, and in the most humble way I know. Like Rachel's song. Like I think I'm good. What is it? Can't get no better than this. Yeah.
Rachel, you sound amazing.
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna release that song.
So I appreciate you. Got to get on another call, right, Joy?
Yeah, I actually have an appointment that starts it'll be a little after 7, but I'm gonna get going now.
Okay. Did y'all have any questions for me?
No, thanks for reaching out. I know it's so last minute, so but I